Oh, wow. Wow.
Man.
Last night, after I talked, don't sing out.
What the? What the hell, Mr. Ballin'?
I was about to leave the room tonight.
What was that?
I don't know, man.
What's good with y'all, man? Yo, what's up with y'all, man? Yo, this is Reef'Lik.
And this is Leaky
And
Leak.
this is Reef'Lik. Anime Horror Gang. Let's get what y'all got another video.
Today we're going to be reacting to Mr. Ballin'.
Yo, man, shout out to Mr. Ballin', man. You already know Mr. Ballin's the GOAT. Yo, he dropped a lot of good videos, so we're definitely going to be catching up with them videos as well. You already know. We might have to do like a 2-piece, a 3-piece 1 week to catch up with his videos, y'all, because he's been dropping some bangers on this channel, y'all. Please show Mr. Ballin some love and support.
So comment, subscribe, and join our big happy family.
Yes, man. Join the family. Anime Heart Gang. Once you join the family, you're Supreme Kai. You're a loser. You're a Supreme Loser, man. Yo, we love y'all so much. We're almost at 500 subscribers. That is a big milestone for us. We love y'all so much, man. Please like, comment, subscribe. And please share our videos, y'all. And please subscribe. If you ain't subscribed and you watching our videos, y'all be part of the family. We want to either be your big brother or your little brothers. Y'all already know. So we love y'all so much, man. Yo, we almost at 500 subscribers. Let's begin, man. Anime Heart Gang. Let's begin this video, man. Let's do it, man. You ready, Lee?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's get it, man. Anime. We got another Mr. Ballin' joint. It's called YoRkshIre's Walking Dead Actually Kill People. All right, we don't know what this is about. Like, Mr. Ballin' be hitting us with the throwbacks, and this story might be crazy. So, if y'all in store for it, we're in store for it. So, Mr. Ballin', give us what you got.
Yep.
So, we're going to have it this, y'all. Please show Mr. Ballin' some love and support. Show us some love and support as well, man. We love y'all so much. We almost at 500 subscribers. Anime Heart Gang. Let's get it, y'all. Love you, Mr. Ballin', man. We love you, man.
Love you.
Today's story is a good old-fashioned scary story that you might tell around a campfire. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right place, because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you, please superglue 50 harmonicas to the front of the like button's car right before they leave for work.
What is these things he be coming up with?
Man, I don't know.
So you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into the story.
It's a ballin', man. Curtains.
On the afternoon of Sunday, February 25th, 1855, a 48-year-old woman named Hannah Rallinson, along with her husband and a group of her friends, walked quickly down a road in Sheffield, England. As they walked, the entire group was totally silent because they were terrified of what was going to happen next.
Oh, wow.
Friends on this road was actually another slightly larger group of people that were keeping pace with Hannah and her friends. They were actually going to the same place as them, except this second group had no intention of going inside that building. They were just there to see what happened. Now, Hannah and her friends were totally offended and annoyed by this group that was following them, but they knew there was nothing they could do, and so they just kept on walking in silence. And as Hannah walked in silence, she couldn't help but think to herself, how in the world did I get into this position? At the time, Sheffield, England was a big industrial city with lots of metalworking factories all over the place. So loads of people at the time were coming to Sheffield to work in those factories. And as the population increased in Sheffield, the city began building all these tenement apartments, which are kind of like these low-quality, cramped, interconnected apartments that are basically cheap and easy to make and house lots and lots of people. Hannah and her husband lived in one of these tenement apartments, and they worked in one of the metalworking factories, which meant their lives were pretty rough and difficult. Recently, their lives had become even more challenging when their oldest son had died in a coal mining accident. This totally devastated the parents, but Hannah definitely took it the worst.
That's
in her
sad,
grief, Hannah became very antisocial and began just going to the factory and doing back-breaking labor all day, and then came straight home. She would go to a room by herself, and she would just sit there all night and pray and try to communicate with her dead son.
Y'all, we gonna say this right here. if y'all are working right and y'all feel miserable every time when you get up, you always be like, I do not feel like going here, like, and you just begging to get some sleep, y'all. If that job is making you feel like that and you're calling off a lot, y'all, please quit, because that just shows it. That's an indicator to show you right there that you don't love that job.
Yeah.
Y'all, trust me, I know how y'all feel if y'all are working jobs that y'all don't like just to try to get by. There are jobs out here, y'all, that are way more better than the job that you had that you don't like. Y'all, please don't live your life miserable and just staying somewhere just because it's just making you get by through the week with the money and just making you get by enough just with the rent. Go find a job that makes y'all happy. Don't, because trust me, y'all, I worked at a vegetable factory, a dead end job at this vegetable factory, fruit and vegetable factory. And that's a life story in itself right there. Y'all, I used to hate going there. Like, I always broke my back and my check wasn't even that big, and I was really putting in some hours. Yeah. And then they got the nerve to, like, complain. Like, I'm looking like, dude, I come here every day busting my butt, and people ain't even doing what I'm doing. And then y'all got the nerve to complain to me? Man, that's why I quitted that job, and the job that I'm at now, I love it to death. Like, y'all, please trust me. Your life could change in a year, y'all. Y'all not going to be miserable forever. You're just going through the storm right now until you can get better. And it's sad that she did lost her son. Then that makes things even worse on top of it. Y'all can get through it. Please use this as a life experience that you can't keep everybody with you forever. Please cherish everybody while they're here. Don't cherish them while they're gone. Cherish them while they're here. And please do things to make you better. You could change your life in a year, y'all. Trust me. Yep. Trust me. You could change your life in 1 year. Trust me. Like, for real. People don't wake up famous and rich every day. Like, you gotta grind hard and work for it, y'all. Please don't be miserable. Work jobs that you really feel like you'll love getting up working to. Like, dang, I can't wait to go to work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just have a job like that. Yeah. Rest in peace to her son, though. You already know.
First, Hannah's husband basically did the same thing as Hannah. He put all of his energy and his time and his focus on work, even though it was totally backbreaking and miserable, because it was a distraction from this terrible grief he was dealing with. But after several
losing a kid is rough, man.
His husband did begin to kind of get back to normal and began to move forward with his life. But he could see Hannah was not doing that. Hannah was totally...
Gotta talk to her, man. Communication.
And so he eventually encouraged her to start going back to church and start spending more time with people there, make some new friends, and hopefully being around some people will help you cope with this tragedy. And Hannah had actually taken her husband's advice. She began going back to church, she made a bunch of new friends, she rekindled old relationships, and before long she was getting that support, and it was helping her kind of move through this grieving process. But, ironically, it was this new church support group that had thrust Hannah into a new horrible situation. One that was playing out on the streets of Sheffield, England.
Oh, wow.
As Hannah, her husband, and her church friends speed walked down the road with this big group following behind them. And so in this group of people with Hannah was obviously her husband, as well as her closest friend from church, whose name was Harriet Ward. And then also there was 3 members of the Fabell family. There was Mr. and Mrs. Fabell, as well as Mrs. Fabell's sister. And all of them were headed to the tenement apartment on Campo Lane, where Harriet Ward and the Fabell family lived together. Hannah and her group, and the second group that was following them, all came from the same place. They all went to the same church, and that day, for the previous 2 hours before they all took to the streets here, they had been having this really heated argument about what to do about Harriet and the Fabell family's basement. Or, more specifically, what to do about what was in their basement. Some parishioners said that Harriet and the Fabell family were just totally making up what was going on in their basement. But other parishioners believed them and said that that basement was so dangerous, nobody should go in it. In fact, we should just board up that basement.
Oh, wow.
We should just level the entire...
If it's bad like that, shit, I'm not staying up in there.
Yeah. Attraction that lots of people in the church began saying, yeah, let's block off the basement or knock the apartment down. The Fabell family lived in this apartment building and did not want to, permanently block off segments of it or knock it down. They got so angry that they just stood up and left. And at this point, Hannah...
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If I'm going to your house and you just mistakenly said that you got like a ghost in your house or like there's some weird things happening, I'm not going.
I ain't going.
I'm not going. I'm gonna make up something quick in my head and be like, oh, yo, Brody, or yo, sis, my mom called me. I gotta see about my mom and stuff like that. Like, you know, I already know, like, I can't be, like, I gotta go. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? With the quickness. Like, once I hear something like that, shit. You think I'm gonna bring something back home? Nope. Shit.
Plan, but they felt
keep that away from me.
Needed to get to the Campo Lane tenement apartment building.
We ain't the ones for that.
To prevent other people from showing up and doing something to the apartment, like trying to knock it down or do something to the basement. And so Hannah and her group began speed walking to the apartment, and this gaggle of other churchgoers who were part of this argument just kind of naturally came outside and followed them. And then when Hannah and her friends reached the apartment building on Campo Lane, they went inside and shut and locked the door behind them. And for a moment, Hannah and the 5 other people she was with, they just stood there in silence, not really sure what to do next. But eventually, one of them said, we gotta do something about the basement, because if we don't, the people outside will. Hannah walked over to
man.
where there was a big window that looked out to the street. And when she looked out there, she saw the big group of people that had followed them were all kind of gathering around the small window that looked down into the Campo Lane tenement apartment basement. It was like all these people were jockeying for position to get the best look. Hannah shut the blind in frustration and then walked back over to the group. And then after a few minutes, Mr. Fabell said, you know, guys, it's only going to be daylight for a few more hours. If we're going to do something in the basement, we have to get down there before the daylight is gone. We can't be down there in the dark. The group nodded because they understood why. They definitely did not want to be down there in the dark. And then Mr. Fabell looked over at Hannah's husband and he kind of gestured like, why don't we, the 2 of us, go down there together? And Hannah's husband, even though he did not want to go down there, he just nodded and said, okay, let's go. Moments later, Harriet and the 2 Fabell women watched as the 2 men opened up the basement door, turned around and looked at the women, and then they slowly began descending the stairs.
I can't go in no basement looking like that.
Me neither.
If the stairs look crooked, dusty, and broken, I'm not going down that.
For the next 2
that's like somebody stored something down there.
Yeah.
Continued to smash up the floor in the basement, but every time they removed a big piece of stone, all they'd find was dirt underneath. There was nothing else. Meanwhile, outside, the crowd looking in that window into the basement was only getting bigger and bigger. It was no longer just other members of their church. It was now just random people who saw this big group and walked over to see what was going on. And Hannah...
Man, I couldn't imagine we're in a house and they know something's wrong with our house and everybody's on our front porch. Like, can you imagine that? Like, everybody's on the front porch and you looking like, yo, what y'all doing? Get the fuck off my porch! Like, what y'all doing?
That basement, the sun,
no, like...
he did not want them down there in the dark. And finally, when the sun did set and the 2 men still had not come up, Hannah just rushed over to the basement and yelled for them to stop what they were doing and get up here. And the 2 men did as she asked. They dropped their tools and came upstairs looking totally dejected. You know, they had not found the thing they were looking for down there, which meant they had failed. But Hannah and her friends were hoping that now that it was dark outside and the people outside could no longer actually see into the basement because it was too dark, that maybe the crowd would disperse. But as Hannah, her husband, Harriet, and the Fabells sat down to have some dinner in the apartment, they looked outside periodically and they saw the crowd was not going away. If anything, the crowd was still continuing to get bigger. Now, you got to remember, this is Sheffield, England in the 1800s. This was a tough place to live. Everybody's working at these factories, doing this awful work 7 days a week for very little money.
Oh my God. I couldn't do that.
Me neither.
I need at least a day off. Let me at least get a day off. It feels like if you miss a day, you're not even going to get enough.
It was exciting. And that was pretty rare in their lives. And so they were not about to leave and go home because their lives at home were terrible. And so, by about midnight, there was this huge crowd right outside of the Campo Lane apartment, and it meant that, you know, Hannah and her husband really couldn't leave to go back to their apartment. They were kind of trapped because of this crowd. Also, the crowd was really starting to get rowdy, and the Favell family were starting to get worried that a fight would break out near the basement window, and then maybe the window would break, and then these people would storm into their apartment and maybe rob them. I mean, they didn't know.
Facts.
Mrs. Favell
Facts.
came up with this plan to try to get the crowd to leave them alone. And so she ran over to one of the biggest windows on the first floor, and she pulled down the curtain rod and the curtain attached to it, and she handed it to her sister and said, "Go down in the basement."
Shit. What?
The one window.
You can go down there, man.
Can't see into the basement, then they'll likely just leave. But Mrs. Favell's sister, after being handed this curtain rod, she's like, "I don't want to go in the basement."
Facts! We think alike!
Yup.
Over the next couple of minutes, the entire group just
Man, y'all had all day to do that, man.
Thank
went
you!
into the basement to cover up this window. And nobody wanted to do it. And
I don't blame them.
who she's lost her son recently, she just wants to go home at this point, but she can't because of this stupid group. She finally just snaps and says, "You know what? I'll do it." And so she snatches the curtain rod and just walks right over to the basement door. She opens it up and begins descending the stairs before anybody else could stop her. And as she did, her husband and Harriet and the Favell family, they all crowded around the top of the basement stairs, looking down, kind of waiting to see what would happen.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Man.
Last night, after I talked, don't sing out!
What the? What the hell, Mr. Ballin?
I was about to leave the room tonight.
What was that?
Shit. Man,
Oh,
I don't know, man.
I love this guy, man. Yo, I love Mr. Ballin.
Release them in batches of 8 episodes.
Yo, what he be? Yo, that got me wondering what he does at home. Like,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
However, you only get one new episode every week. Again, Mr. Ballen's Medical Mysteries is available on all podcast platforms for free.
I really want to check out his podcast, like what he be talking about.
Music,
Yep.
or new episodes once a week.
If y'all join his podcast and y'all know what he be talking about, let us know if y'all want us to like get on there to check him out, cause I want to know. Cause Mr. Ballin, man, he funny as.
And so they all heard as Hannah turned the corner and walked over to that window, and they could hear her kind of messing around with the curtain as she put it in place. And then even though they could not see her down there, because the basement's totally dark, they can't see the window, they heard Hannah call out that she was done. She had put the curtain up, it's blocked, and now she was going to come back upstairs. But after she yelled to them that she was coming back up, it went completely silent in the basement. And for like 5, 6, 7 seconds, all the people at the top of the stairs are waiting anxiously for Hannah to turn the corner and come up the stairs to safety. But then this tense silence was broken with a horrible scream coming out of the
What the
It was
fuck
Hannah.
happened down there?
Silence again.
Dude,
And
man.
Hannah's husband, he's like,
Something, man, but man.
And he charges down the stairs.
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I hate that feeling. I really don't like that feeling. It be like dead quiet that you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it right now. Watch. You see how scary that shit feels? Y'all see how scary that shit feels? I don't like that.
Me
I
neither.
don't like that. And especially you're in a dark area.
Yep.
Like, I don't like that. Like, that's scary as hell.
Yeah.
No.
He sees Hannah is lying on the ground motionless. There's nothing else in the basement. It's just his wife in this covered up window. And so he runs over, he scoops her up, and he runs her back upstairs, and he lays her on the ground right outside of the basement door. And then he began to shake her to try to wake her up. But she wasn't waking up. However, it was clear she was still breathing, and so Harriet ran and got a wet towel, and she came back and she kneeled down next to Hannah, and she placed the towel on Hannah's forehead, hoping this wet towel would revive Hannah. But as Harriet is kneeling there, so she's looking at Hannah's body, and the basement door, which is open, is right past Hannah's body, Harriet happened to look up, and so now she's looking into the doorway that leads down into the basement. And her eyes went wide, and she screamed, and then she passed out. The big controversy over this basement began several weeks earlier at the beginning of February.
What is down there?
The Favell family began hearing all this.
It must be something terrifying.
Yep.
Now, initially,
Terrifying down there.
as being, strange creaking and cracking sounds that were just the product of a poorly constructed building with lots of people inside of it. But the noises they were hearing from the basement only got louder and louder and more intense, and they were especially bad at night. And so basically, Harriet and the Favell family were so scared to go down there that they just stopped, especially at night. Sometimes they'd go during the day, but at night it was like, no one's going down there. We don't know what's going on, but I'm not going down there. And then on February 24th, so this is one day before all this craziness happened, where Hannah and her friends get followed to the apartment, and then Hannah goes down and she passes out, and then Harriet passes out. So one day before that, Harriet swore she saw a ghost in the basement. She saw this old woman wearing a...
Oh, hell no. Nah. You can keep the house.
Yeah, same here by me. You can keep the house.
This ghost in the basement. Harriet has a dream. And in her dream, she sees this ghost. And again, this ghost is in that basement, and it's pointing at this spot on the basement floor. Except in Harriet's dream, this ghost woman speaks to Harriet and says that she was murdered and her gold was stolen from her and buried in the basement right there. And it was this apparent ghost in the Campo Lane basement.
Can you imagine you're sleeping and in a dream that popped up? Like, what is you trying to tell me?
Shoot, man.
I hate
to have that.
Man. I would hate to have that dream.
The center of that 2-hour-long argument at the church the following day, which ultimately
no, that's some scary
shit. Harriet, the Favell family, to get up and storm out to go protect the Campo Lane apartment, and then also the second.
I ain't protecting nothing if I hear a ghost is in there. What?
They were going to go confront the ghost because a lot of people thought that's what they're going to go do. And that is basically what Hannah, her husband, and her friends ended up doing. They decided the two men would go down into the basement and attempt to dig up the floor in hopes that they might find this gold that was stolen from this murdered woman and buried in the basement. But they obviously did not find the gold, which ultimately led to Hannah going down and passing out, and then Harriet also passing out. Hannah and Harriet would wake up after passing out. And when they woke up, they would tell these terrifying stories about what they saw. Hannah said she went down the stairs, she went over to the window where all the crowd was looking in, and she managed to get this curtain up, and then she yelled upstairs to her husband and her friends that she was coming back up. But when Hannah actually turned around to go to the stairs, she realized the ghost was in the basement with her.
No. Do y'all see? I would hate to see something like that in the basement. Do you see how she look? Oh my! I hate images like. Let's turn this. This look creepy. Like it's about to come through the screen.
And the stairs. She was blocking her way, and this woman.
Oh my god!
And then Hannah screamed, and this ghost charged at Hannah.
Oh yeah, no! You charging at me now?
As for Harriet, when she came to, her story was even more terrifying. Harriet said after she placed that wet towel on Hannah's head, she looked up and she saw the woman in white.
No, man. No.
Directly at Harriet. And Harriet, she froze and kind of leaned back and just stared at this woman. And the woman, she came right to the top of the stairs, she stopped in the doorway, and then she opened up her mouth grotesquely wide and just continued to stare directly at Harriet. And then with slow, trembling hands, the woman began taking off her nightgown, which eventually fell to the ground, and Harriet... all over her chest and neck. And then Harriet... And she passed out too.
Nah, man. Yeah, I'm good on that, man.
And told their horrible stories. Outside and dispersed the big crowd.
That would have scared me right there.
Finally leave and go back to their apartment. And they would. But just 12 hours later, Hannah would die. The shepherd held an inquest into Hannah's death, but he could find no scientific explanation for why Hannah actually died. And so on her death certificate, it basically says she died of fright. She was literally scared to death.
Wow.
Hannah's very bizarre and basically unexplained death, Harriet, who would survive, and the Favell family, they just moved out. They could not stand to be at that apartment any longer. And then also many more people who lived inside of this tenement apartment building on Campbell Lane, they also moved out because, again, it was just too terrifying to be near this basement. To this day, we still don't have a better explanation for what happened to Hannah.
Wow.
She was in good health, all things considered, when she died. And so really this didn't make any sense. And so this case still is one of the only in recorded history where somebody apparently died.
Just get that off the screen. I hate seeing this.
Dude.
No.
Late one night in the spring of 1937,
I guess this is it.
stumbled into her New York City
One of his podcasts.
drunk from a long night of partying with friends.
All right, y'all. That's the end of it. Oh my God! If I know that you got something up in your house and you going through shit, like, I'm not coming.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
neither. Me neither.
Yo, that's insane to me. Oh my God! All right, y'all. Let's just end this because I'm getting spooked.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
getting a little scared, low key. All right, y'all. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Anime Horror Gang. Join Supreme Losers. You already know we love y'all so much, man. Show Mr. Ballin some love and support on his channel, y'all. Join all his podcasts and make sure that Mr. Ballin is good over there. Tell him that Reef'Lik showed them some love, some love, man. You already know, Mr. Ballin, we love y'all, man. And we love you, man. Yo, you doing your thing, man. We're gonna definitely check out a lot of your videos, man. Y'all. Thank y'all for getting us almost close to 500 subscribers. Man, I want to hug y'all, man.
Yeah.
Man, the big brother, little brother love, man. I want to hug y'all through the screen. I wish I could hug y'all, man. You already know. I love y'all so much, man. Leaky Leak love y'all so much. Yo, we can't wait until we react to more Mr. Ballin stuff. We might do like 2 or 3 of his stuff on videos and stuff and just put them out there, you know? So, yeah, y'all, we love y'all, man. Anime Horror Gang. We see y'all next time.
See you next time.
reaction. Deuces!